Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book recommendations video, and today I'm going to focus on just romance. This book recommendations video I'm going to break up into several parts. So today I'm just going to be talking about romance, then I'll do a mystery one, I'm going to do a fantasy one, and then a general fiction one. So today I have all my favorite romances sitting around me, and I'm going to go through each one and tell you a little bit about them and why I love them and would recommend them. So the first category is just going to be general romance, like I guess adult romance, because then I also have some young adult romances and a couple of other smaller categories that are a bit more specific if you like certain tropes or certain things in books. So first and foremost, one of my favorite romance authors is Emily Henry. I love all of her books. These are the UK covers of her books. I ordered them on Blackwell's just because I think they're kind of cuter and prettier than the US ones. I still have the US ones, they're on a different shelf. But she has 4 books right now. Her new book comes out next month called Funny Story. I'm so excited. But these are all contemporary romances. They almost kind of read like general women's fiction almost. She talks about other problems besides like just focusing on the romance, and like her characters have such depth and like real problems that you can connect to, especially Happy Place. I think it's one of my favorite ones because the main character Harriet it's about these like old college friends. They went to college together, now they're in their 30s, and they're still trying to figure out how to make time for each other and stay friends when they have such busy lives. And I think it's such a great like growing up story, and like how you can grow apart from your college friends, your childhood friends, and you might not be able to hang out as much as you used to or as much as you'd like, but you're basically just trying to figure out how to make these friendships work in your relationships with other people. And it's so good and so relatable. I felt like when I was reading this, I feel like I saw myself in Harriet a lot, and it's just amazing. It's so good. And her other books are really good too. Beach Read is amazing. I like reading these kind of like in the summer. They're good. I don't want to be cliche, but beach reads. Romances are just the best to read on the beach, okay? And Beach Read is about 2 writers who knew each other in college. She kind of saw him as an enemy, but he didn't see her that way, and they're both struggling to write their next book, so they agreed to switch genres. She writes only romances with happy endings. He only writes like tragedies that are kind of based on like true stories, and so they decide to switch because they're like, oh, I bet you couldn't write what I write. And they take each other on dates, I guess, to help the other write in their genre. So then they end up having this full connection and falling in love, and it's just amazing. And I love the aspect that they're at the beach, they're both authors. It's amazing. And then Book Lovers is also another thing where Nora is a literary agent and Charlie is an editor, and they're basically each other's work nemesis, okay? And they have to work together on this book. Nora goes to this small town for like a vacation, I guess. Her sister's favorite book is based on this town, and so she takes her there for like a little vacation, or just to see like what's amazing about this town and the book and whatever. And then Charlie's there because his family owns a bookstore there, and they kind of keep running into each other and have to deal with each other. So good. And then You and Me on Vacation. This is actually called People We Meet on Vacation in the US. I don't know why it's different, but this is People We Meet on Vacation, and it's like 2 friends that have known each other for 12 years, okay? And every year they go on a vacation together because she works for like a travel magazine or a magazine in general, so she gets to go to these places for free, and Alex always goes with her, who's the guy, and Poppy's the girl. And I don't know if they haven't done it in a long time. Something happened. I can't remember. It's been a long time. I read this in 2021, okay? I'm gonna reread it soon. But something happened where I think they weren't talking, and she asked him to go on one more vacation with her. It's best friends to lovers. If you like that trope, then you'll like this. So that's Emily Henry, and then another one of my favorite authors I discovered in 2023, and it's Ashley Poston. I read the 7 Year Slip first, and this one has magical realism in it, so if you're interested in that, you should totally read it. It also reads more as a general fiction with romance. I feel like romance is kind of the subplot, but it's there, and as you can see, I tabbed this book so much. It's amazing. So this girl is moving into her aunt's old apartment after she died, and this apartment can transport you like 7 years in the past or the future. I think the future. I don't know if it's just the past. Anyway, so she meets this guy in there, and when she realizes what's happening, when you leave the apartment, everything's normal, but when she goes back to it, she's like 7 years in the past. She meets this guy that's in her apartment 7 years in the past. She meets him in the future, where he already knows her because he's already saw her 7 years ago when he was in that apartment. He saw her in the future. Does that make sense? It's hard to explain, but they see each other in real life, and she's like, I don't know who you are, but he's like, oh, I know who you are, because he's already lived through that and like saw her from the future, and she's just now seeing him from the past. And it's so good. I had to reread it so I could go back and like annotate like all the signs that they were, you know, coming across each other. It is amazing. I highly, highly recommend this one. Abby Jimenez is another great romance author that I discovered last year. She writes interconnected standalones, basically. So like this is one series and then this is another one, but you don't have to read one to read the other. It just has characters from other books that you see pop in. That's all it is. So like this one, these are both about doctors, kind of, in like small towns. Loved Yours Truly because the main guy character is so relatable. He has anxiety, and I feel like you don't see that a lot. The male main characters is, you know, struggling with anxiety or something, and you get I think you get dual point of view in this, and it's really great. It's really great. This one has the small town romance vibes, if you like that one. Ali Hazelwood, always amazing. These are my favorite ones from her. She has another one called Love on the Brain, I think. Love on the Brain, but it wasn't my favorite. I just didn't connect to the characters as much as these two. The Love Hypothesis. By the way, Ali Hazelwood writes STEM romances. And you might be like, oh, I don't know anything about that. I don't either. But she makes it like, it's not like it's hard to understand. Like, it's not the main focus. She does like mention it a lot, but it's just a fun little aspect of the relationship is that the main characters are both people in STEM. So it just makes it interesting. It's not as hard as you think to follow along, is what I'm trying to say. This one has a fake dating trope with her. I don't know who Adam is to Olive. He's a professor. He agrees to be her fake boyfriend, but he's kind of like higher up than her. Like, he's not her superior, but he's still, because she's just like she's a PhD candidate, so. But it's not illegal for them to be together, if you know what I mean. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but it's a good read. And then Love Theoretically, I think is my favorite Ali Hazelwood book. I read this in January, and it is so good. It's about two is about a theoretical physicist, Elsie, basically her arch enemy. He's an experimental physicist, and you know, those two don't go together. That they're like basically contradict each other, I guess. She is teaching, she's an adjunct professor, she's teaching so many jobs, teaching so many classes. She grades labs, she's teaching this, and she's trying to find a tenure job. And Jack, who is the experimental physicist, basically ruined her mentor's career, so that's why she hates him so much. And she is applying for her dream job at MIT, but Jack Smith is on the board for that job. She's like, great, I'm not gonna get the job because this guy, my arch enemy, is on the, you know, committee of deciding whether I get the job or not. I love this one. Out of all of Ali Hazelwood's books, if you want to read one, I would pick this one. Just so you know. Also, Olive and Adam make a cameo in this one. So, you know, you don't have to read The Love Hypothesis to read Love Theoretically, but, you know, whatever you want to do. And then I have Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is a great childhood friends to lovers book. It's so good. I really love childhood friends to lovers. I don't know, because they already have that connection, you know, and you kind of see like them like pining for each other. Oh, it's just so good. And it's told in like the past and present, so you find out like what happened, like them growing up and like meeting each other, and then everything that leads up to what happened, like the main event that, you know, broke them up the first time. And then it shows them as adults like reconnecting and trying to figure out what happened to them and, you know, kind of make up for all that lost time. So another amazing romance. My next category is going to be small town romance vibes. Like if you're looking for a book that's just like straight vibes, you know, kind of eccentric characters, you know, it's mainly focused on the characters and not really plot, these are for you. So first I have Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This series, it's called the Knock 'Em Out series, and I will tell you, the first time I read Things We Never Got Over, I was so unimpressed. I think I gave it 1 star, which now that I think about it, I think I would give it like maybe 2 or 3. But I was not expecting the characters from this. This town is so crazy, but if you like that kind of crazy, eccentric, small town vibe, and where like everybody knows each other, they're all in each other's business, there's like really crazy characters, it kind of felt like everyone was kind of like country, if you know what I mean, even though it doesn't take place in that. But you know, there's also like it's a grumpy sunshine situation, but I think it's an easy book and series to get into. And then the second book is Things We Hide from the Light, and I'm really glad I decided to continue this series because I actually liked this one more. This is about the main guy character's brother, who's the police chief, and then about another girl she's in this town, she's like a detective or something, I can't remember, but anyway, it's about them. And I think this also is dual point of view. Yeah. It's just fun. Like, I think this series is just fun. Like, reading about the town and the characters. I feel like it's, like I said, it's more character based, focused than plot. So if you like those type of books, then I would recommend reading these. And then my favorite one in the series is Things We Left Behind. This came out at the end of last year. And the 2 characters that it's about are my favorite characters from the series. It's about Lucian and Sloane, and they have a past, like they knew each other when they were younger, but like they hate each other now, and you're like, what happened between them? So it kind of, you get glimpses of like what happened to them in the past, and this one is so good. This one is so good. Like, the whole series is worth reading just to get to this one. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. So sticking with the small town romance vibes, we have the Chestnut Springs series. This is more like a cowboy ranch situation. So if you are interested in that, or even if you aren't, like, I didn't know I'd ever read a book set like this type of book, but it's amazing. I love it's I don't know why I like to refer to it as just like straight vibes, but it is, and it's just entertaining to read. I love the romances, I love the characters, I love when there's a series that it's about like Abby Jimenez, like how they're each book's about like a different character from like, you know, the characters are all connected. I really like that. And Elsie Silver, the Chestnut Spring series is about this whole family, like the brothers, this family and their story and their romances, and it's so good. So Flawless is about this like bull rider, and he needs a manager because he's kind of, you know, saying the wrong things in public and like getting bad press. So his manager hires his daughter as his what do you call it? Well, it says full-time supervision, so like she's basically like coaching him, making sure he doesn't say the wrong things, and they, you know, obviously end up falling in love. But I just love like the taking place on a ranch. It's just so good. The second one is a single dad nanny trope. And there's also an age gap. Just FYI. I don't know if you care about that. But, because it's about, I don't know the order. I don't remember the order of the brothers, but this is about Rhett's brother, Cade. He's 13 years older than the nanny, and she's working for him. He basically runs the ranch, I guess, and he's also kind of grumpy. And as she's like, you know, taking care of his kid, he kind of starts to fall in love with her, and she's falling in love with him. And I think this is one of my favorites. Normally I don't like single dad tropes, but this one I feel like is done really well. And then the third book I think is my absolute favorite. It's my absolute favorite. It's about their cousin, Sloane, and their best friend, Jasper. Jasper is a hockey player. Sloane's a ballerina. And she's basically being married off to this guy that she doesn't want to marry. And Jasper saves her from it. They're childhood friends. But anyway, he saves her basically. And they kind of like reconnect and form this connection again. So Sloane was saying she's in the friend zone for years. And I think Jasper felt like he couldn't date her because he wasn't good enough, because her family's like really rich and stuff, and he's just, you know, a little country hockey player. But I love their story. I think I like the hockey player and ballerina duo. I like the childhood friends. I like that he saved her from the wedding. It's so good. This is my favorite one out of all of them, if I didn't already say that. And then the fourth one is about Brett's, from the first book, his like little prodigy that he's been training for bull riding. So it's like his little friend, and then it's about Summer's sister named Winter. And this is also another single parent trope. Look at the tiny cowboy boot. I don't know if you can see it. It's so cute. But I also really like this one. I don't normally like single parent. I don't really like if there's a kid in the story. I don't know why. I feel like they're annoying. But I really enjoyed it in this series. So that's the fourth one. And the fifth one just came out last year. And this one's about the oldest brother, I think. And he's basically come back from being overseas. He was in the military. And he's kind of got some PTSD. He kind of went through some things. So he enters this fake engagement with his neighbor, and they kind of help each other with their problems, and like she has family problems. She's helping him overcome his PTSD. Not overcome it, but she's helping him live through it, and he's helping her with her family issues, and you know, they end up falling in love along the way, and it's just a cute story. So this is a great series if you like the found family aspect, small town, romance, and stories that are just focused on the characters. Then I have some sad book recommendations for you that are romance, but you know, if you want a good cry, this is for you. The Song of Achilles. You've probably heard about this one. It was really popular back in the day. It's a Greek mythology retelling about Achilles and Patroclus and their love story. And if you read the original story, then you know what happens. So that's what makes it sad, but it's still really interesting to read. I love reading retellings of like fairy tales, Greek mythology. This one's really good. And then If He Had Been With Me and If Only I Had Told Her. This one's about childhood friends who are in love with each other but really don't tell each other or do anything about it until it's too late. And there's a really tragic event in it. You will be crying your eyes out. I'm just gonna warn you now, but it's still so good. You have to read it. And then 1,000 Boy Kisses. I went into this one thinking it was gonna be a cute, lighthearted romance. It is the exact opposite. Don't go into this book thinking that, okay? Because I read this in one sitting, and I was laying in bed at like 2 a.m. sobbing my eyes out. So, yeah, if you really, really, really want to cry, then read this book. I'm not going to tell you much about it, but it's got that it's still childhood friends to lovers kind of, and it's just so sad. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. My last book recommendation for general romance is going to be Magnolia Park series. This one, again, probably look up trigger warnings. I don't know if this series has any, but it's not a cute lovey-dovey romance, lighthearted. It's the exact opposite. It's about very toxic people, a toxic friend group, a toxic relationship. You almost can't root for the two characters to be together, but you still want them to be. It's hard to explain, but it's like high society, London, think Gossip Girl, think season 4 of You. It's like that. But that's what makes it really interesting, I feel, and I love the artwork for the covers. They're so pretty. But this one's about Magnolia Parks. There's 3 books in her point of view with BJ, and then there's Daisy Hates, which takes place at the same time as the Magnolia Parks book, but just in Daisy Hates and Christian's point of view and about their love story. And again, it's still not a lighthearted romance. They've got issues, just warning you. But it's still a really interesting story. I feel like it's different from like most romances that you would read, so that's why I recommend them. But yeah, there's that. Now I'm going to go into young adult romances because I still generally read young adult. They just have generally less explicit stuff, so if that's something that you care about or prefer in a book, then these are for you. So the first series is The Summer I Turned Pretty. I will always recommend this series to literally anyone. It's so good. I love the characters. I love the setting. It takes place on the East Coast, beach, New England, and it's about a love triangle between a girl and 2 brothers. But I'm still going to recommend the book. It's amazing. The series is pretty close to the book. I know they changed some things just for TV purposes, but it's still really good. Easy books are really short. Another series, the Love and Gelato series. I don't know if this series has a name, but it's by Jenna Evans Welsh, and this one is my favorite. It's about Lena. She's spending the summer in Tuscany because it was her mother's dying wish. I think they were supposed to go together, but she dies. She got cancer. So she goes. She's staying with one of her mom's best friends, I think, from Italy. And she's trying to figure out who her father was, too, because she never knew who he was. And she has her mother's diary. Her mother lived in Italy when she was her age, or maybe a little bit older. And she's going to all the places that her mom went so she could feel connected to her. And it's a really sweet story. She befriends an Italian guy who shows her more places. It's really cute. I love the vibes. I love that it's in Italy. Really cute. Don't watch the movie on Netflix. Don't watch it. Okay? It's literally the worst thing I've ever seen. Okay? It's nothing like the book. it shouldn't even have the same title. That's all I'm gonna say. And then the rest of the series, like this one's about Lena's best friend, and she goes to Ireland for her aunt's wedding, and then we're supposed to get on the plane to go back home, I think, and her and her brother actually ditch and go on a road trip through Ireland to go to this music festival. So it's basically just about their journey, like, through Ireland. You're basically reading about, like, what they see. So it's like, you know, if you were watching a movie, you can just, like, imagine it, you know? It's really cute. And then the last one, it's not connected to those two, but it's this girl goes to Greece to visit her father because he left her and her mother when she was really young, to go try and discover Atlantis or whatever he's trying to do with that. So she's kind of mad at him for doing that, for, like, abandoning her just to do that. So she goes there to visit him, not really wanting to, and she falls in love with Greece, obviously, and she's a filmmaker, and she agrees to help her dad film a documentary about it. It's just fun to read about them going to all these different places in these countries, and read about. They're just really relaxing, good summer books to read, like by the pool or just outside, at the beach, wherever. Anyway, and she's just learning all this stuff about her father that she never knew about, and she's kind of, like, you know, forming a connection with him now. So, just a cute little series. Then I love Lynn Painter's writing. She writes the most adorable rom-coms. They're so good. This one has all the rom-com, like, poses on here, like the Notebook's down here, Dirty Dancing. Anyway, but she's basically trying to get help from her neighbor, who's her friend, to get this guy that she's had a crush on for a long time to ask her out or go to prom with her. And she's obsessed with rom-coms. She loves love, all that stuff. It's just really cute. And the second book in this one's coming out this summer, I think. So you have another one to read. And The Do-Over is about, you can't guess from the title, it's basically a Groundhog's Day situation where she's reliving the same day over and over again, and it's Valentine's Day, and she's trying to figure out, why am I reliving this day? She's trying to change things, do things differently, doing the same things the same, and then the one day that she just decides to say screw it and, you know, do a bunch of, you know, be mean, steal, whatever, is the day that she actually, you know, the next day is actually February 15th. So she has to live with those consequences. It's not too repetitive. I feel like that's the thing about these type of books. Because, like, after a couple of chapters, you're like, okay, let's move on. And it doesn't take as long as you'd think. So that's good. And another thing about Lynn Painter is that she includes Taylor Swift references in her writing. Just another fun little thing to look for when you're reading those books. And then Betting on You is her newest release. This one's about Bailey and Charlie, where they meet for the first time on a plane, and she finds him really annoying. And a couple years later, she thinks she's never going to see him again. Then several years later, they meet up again in the same town. They work at the same job, and they kind of become friends. And they have this disagreement about whether guys and girls can be just friends. So they make a bet that, you know, I think her friend and his friend were, like, kind of flirting, but her friend had a boyfriend. I think that's the main thing about it. They have this bet, and it's basically them just trying to win this bet, and they end up fake dating to get on her mom's nerves, or like her mom's boyfriend's nerves. So just, again, a cute rom-com. The last recommendation I have is K.L. Walther. Her books are really easy to read, really fun. Summer of Broken Rules is my favorite. It takes place at Martha's Vineyard at a family vacation. They're there for a wedding, and the whole wedding party is playing a game of assassin. She befriends I don't know if he's the best man, but he's just a groomsman, and they form an alliance, and basically just them falling in love, and he has a connection to her sister who died recently, and she's learning all this stuff, and yeah. I'm not going to say anymore because I don't want to spoil it, but it's really cute. K.L. Walther also has Taylor Swift references in her book. She mentions the Fearless album. Like, her and her sister love Taylor Swift. It's just fun to look out for those things. I love tabbing them. And then the next one I read is What Happens After Midnight. And this one's like takes place at a boarding school, and Lily is about to graduate. And every year the senior does this prank. Like, their prank is like some sort of scavenger hunt where they're doing, I don't know, whatever, and the person that's in charge of it is the jester, and they like tag the next person who does it the next year, and the jester is her ex-boyfriend, and so she broke up with him, but she realizes she still has feelings for him, so this entire thing, I think he's trying to win her back too, this whole thing. So like while they're doing the scavenger hunt or this prank together with like a few other people, because he selects people to help him, they're like trying to, you know, reconnect and get that spark back. Again, cute. I like the setting. Her covers are also always beautiful. Like, look at this one. It's so pretty. This one's about, I don't know if they're in a college or not, because I think they live in dorm rooms, but it's like this guy and this girl best friend. Everyone thinks they're meant to date, but Sage likes her best friend's brother, and Charlie has a crush on the new guy at school, but he doesn't, I don't think he's come out to anyone, so he doesn't want anyone to like say anything about it, or like he's afraid of what people will think of him. And it's basically just them like trying to navigate these new relationships and like what people think of them and all that stuff. I feel like I'm just being repetitive where it's just cute. There's a cute romance, you know? Again, the Taylor Swift references are so fun to look for. So those are all of my romance recommendations. Next, I'm going to do mystery recommendations, and then fantasy, and then general fiction, so make sure you look out for those. If you've read any of these books or are going to read any of those books, let me know in the comments. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye!